Happiness is beautiful, it's a kind reality. Happiness is the highest good, happiness is free. So let's be so very happy. Yeah, let's be so very happy. Yeah, let's be so very happy.
Welcome to the Happiness Show. I'm Claudia Basson. I'm here with George Ortega, and we're here to talk about happiness because happiness is, always has been, and always will be the point of our lives. Today we're going to talk about, is happiness all there is? And I say yes, because you can have a lot of things and still not be happy. So that's what we're discussing today, correct, George?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, we're like making the statement that happiness is all there is.
Is all there is.
So we're not asking, we're saying.
So that's why we say it from now on. Happiness is all there is. It's almost like that way they force you to do that on the radio. WNBC, happiness is all there is. Okay, all there will ever be. Because you can have a lot of things in life. You can have, I don't know, anything, material or live in 1,000 houses all over the planet, or travel to the moon and back, or Mars, really, for that matter, and you just don't feel happy because you're lacking in.
Well, think about it. Let's say anything we want, everything we want. A
lot of those things on my list, though, for making me happy.
And think about it. Yeah, but the only reason we want these things is either to help us feel happier, become happier, or to help others feel happier, become happier. It's all about happiness.
It's all about happiness. This is true. That's true.
It is. And also it's like the idea that, we go through our days, we've got a lot of activities that we do, and we've got like a lot of thoughts going on through our minds, and things happen, right? But essentially, our experiences of life as human beings is emotional.
That's right.
That's how we experience life. We kind of like, oh, this feels good, this not as good and all. So, and that's the reason happiness is all there is, because our experience is emotional. That's what is really meaningful in our lives, most meaningful.
We experience life emotionally.
Yeah.
Yeah. We add other levels of experience to life, like physical and, olfactory and all these other senses, but the emotional experience of life is really what is our daily expression.
Because it's kind of like, like we see things, we have thoughts, we do things, but these things are kind of like tools. Like, we might
tools in the path to achieving happiness.
Exactly.
Whether we know it or not. Really, all we do is seek pleasure all day long.
That's a good point you make of, whether we know it or not, because I think, here in the United States we're about 69% happy, the world is less happy, and we could become so much happier if we knew that so much better, because like some of us just don't realize it. Some of us don't understand how essential emotions are to our life, and how everything, all these emotions are designed to help us feel as happy as we can.
Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about just experiencing, different things in our lives in a happier way, rather than looking at them as chores or something we have to get through. Let me just do it and get it over with. How many times have people said that? Let me just get this thing over with. It's really do it and derive the most pleasure out of it as you possibly could.
Absolutely. There's an expression that goes, if you're not enjoying it, you're not doing it right. And that's also, it's like, regardless of what we do, we've got to certainly devote some attention, some of our focus to doing things right? But then, as we're doing that, we should devote half of our consciousness, half of our intention to enjoying it as much as possible, because why else would we be doing it?
So how does one, focus on, well, then let me just do this, but let me also enjoy it. How do I enjoy it? Well, I think if I do it right, if I really make it perfect or as good as it can possibly be, I'll enjoy it more. How does somebody realize that?
Yeah, well, actually, sometimes that actually is a problem for people, because people think that that the only way that they can enjoy what they're doing is by like making it as perfect as possible.
Yeah, perfectionism, that's a bad thing.
Right, and so like the idea is that like when we find that we're devoting so much of our attention to getting things right that we lose our sense of pleasure in doing it, that's when we know that we have to shift focus. That's when we know that our feelings are important, our emotional experience at that moment is important, and with practice, regardless of what it is we have to do, we can learn to focus on both.
You know, it's interesting because I'm thinking about my practice. I'm thinking in a clinical way when you talk like that about focusing on the moment as, you know, deriving happiness from it. And I'm thinking, you know, people with obsessive compulsive disorder, the thinking, the process of this overthinking of an issue, or just keep thinking and thinking and thinking about it, and then having a compulsive behavior attached to that, is sort of like, you know, taking them really far away from feeling any pleasure or happiness, because they're just overthinking and overdoing a behavior, and they're really not enjoying anything. They don't enjoy their children sometimes, or, you know, they don't enjoy any activity they do because they're worrying about so much.
Right. That's I think a perfect example of what happens when we don't have that understanding of happiness being what life is about. That all of a sudden it becomes like some people have compulsions about washing hands, or compulsions about, you know, a certain kind of routine, and for some reason, you know, they focus their life on these actions, these thoughts, and you know, especially, you know, I'm just theorizing, but for people with OCD, since their minds actually have what's generally deficiency for them, but can be seen as a strength in the sense of being able to focus on thoughts or actions, you know, pretty strongly, they can turn that around. You know, if they are like habitually, constantly worrying, thinking about difficult thoughts, they can use that same strength of focus by learning, by developing the new habit, the new compulsion, whatever, of the staying on the positive.
Right. Yes. I also find that people who tend to obsess and compulse on a certain issue, whether it's cleaning something, these people should have, you know, a profession around that, because they're so good at it, and they can actually turn it into something that they can get pleasure from and feel good about, you know, doing, and that takes you away from the fact that it's a clinical disorder, because it maybe, you know, to them they walk in, it's not. It's just been a way of life for them. You know, it's not nothing's wrong with me. I just, you know, I'll throw that out rather than put it in the dishwasher because it was, my cat licked from it and it's not clean anymore, you know.
Yeah.
Someone might say, that's really, you know, obsessive compulsive, that's severe. Someone else might say, you know, I guess that's, you know, okay.
Yeah, they'd be perfect for, like, you know, quality control jobs. For,
that's
like,
right.
Absolutely.
They'd be great in a lab. You know, where you have to have everything protected. Anyway, so back on track. You know, happiness. You know, just imagine it being everywhere. Just being able to see happiness everywhere, yes. Anywhere. You know, do you think it's possible?
Oh God, yes. It not only is it possible. I think that our world is waking up to this understanding that happiness is what life is all about. And with the mass media we have today, with the, you know, mass communication that's global, the internet and all, I think within a few short years, I think the world is going to become much happier. And the reason I say it's so possible is because, you know, we've done shows on this. Happiness is like a skill. You know, it's something that we just have to learn, like playing the piano, like learning a sport.
That's right, it's a skill.
And the other thing, I mean, it's so easy. Like, for example, let's say one thing would be all that was necessary to both keep people keyed in on the idea that happiness is all there is, and to create this much happier world. If people simply just went around consciously with a subtle smile, a pleasant expression, you know, walking through town, you know, at their jobs and stuff, that would do it. That would be enough to just, like, anytime, for example, anytime somebody's like walking through town, or, you know, with around other people, and let's say they're worrying about something, they see people around them smiling, they'll get the message, say, wait a minute, you know, what, you know, that's what it's about.
Yeah, it's getting the message to people that that's an important thing to do every single day. You know, I think of it because I know that when I'm frowning, I'm not feeling as good, you know, and I don't think I look as peaceful, and I don't like to have a face on that's miserable looking. So I tend to make a little smile happen, You know, when I'm doing something, I'll just go, just crank it up a tiny bit, turn up the volume. Not crazy smiling happy, you know, because it doesn't mean anything, but I mean just a little shift, because it changes a lot of what my neurochemistry is doing. It helps me relax a little bit. And then I want to have more eye contact. You know, when I'm feeling really down in the dumps, I'm hitting a lot of a melancholy mood, maybe like from October to March, that happens more than any other time. I'll find that, you know, I don't really want to have as much eye contact, and I'm not quite as sociable. But when I feel a little bit like, okay, I'm fine-tuning these little things, my eyes are a little more open, and I'm smiling a bit, then I just feel like more contact is good. I can manage more contact, and that always makes me happy, and it always gives people a little bit of happiness. Even if I'm at the health club, somebody's coming up the steps, I'm going down the steps, I smile, they smile back. We gave each other something. It's good. Absolutely. I get like a little bowl of energy from that.
Oh yeah. You know, this thing about, like, you know, because I think, you know, we're saying that happiness is all there is, and I think in a certain level people understand, you know, because it kind of makes sense that everything we do is about happiness. But I want to kind of like explore just the idea that, you know, this is not just like psychological, it's biological.
It's neurophysiological.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
it depends a lot on brain chemistry.
Yeah.
Or you can shift your brain. I mean, you either go with the brain chemistry or you try to shift your brain chemistry. You are in control of it.
Right. No, what I'm saying is, like, for example, in psychology.
So biological mean history, biologically?
Biologically, like, for example, you put paramecium in a petri dish that's, let's say, covered half with light and half with darkness. Okay, if if it's in a side where, let's say, it's too dark, it will make an attempt to move toward the lighter side, or vice versa, right? So the idea is, like, we're biologically predisposed to do what we can do to move in what we consider a more favorable condition.
Absolutely.
And when you think, what's a more favorable condition as a human being? It's like
pleasure.
When we're enjoying.
Yes. We seek pleasure and seek to minimize pain.
Exactly. And that's, again, in terms of psychology, the hedonic principles explain that. That is the most fundamental of all our motivations.
And so the hedonic principles, even though they explain that, don't they take it to a level that's a little different than what we feel is a little on the easier road to happiness? Something just like everyday activities you can actually do. You don't have to go to club hedonism to...
Oh, yeah, and like, when, you know, because the term hedonic, you know, literally means relating to pleasure and pain. And of course hedonism has gotten a bad connotation, I think to a certain extent undeservedly, because the hedonists were, well, the hedonists were about pleasure, but of course we all know that seeking certain pleasures in certain ways is just not wise, it's not healthy. So, but the idea, I mean, like, to seek pleasure, that's what we do on a moment-by-moment basis throughout our days.
Yeah, all day, every day.
And that's why, you know, when Freud proposed his hedonic principle, he had to add along with it what he referred to as the reality principle. And the reality principle is about, like, well, all right, it may feel good to do this. Let's say drink a couple of, you know, gallons of alcohol, right? But if we do that, yeah, we're not going to be happy campers.
Yeah.
So the reality principle kind of, like, you know, gauges what we engage in, not just on a momentary basis, but what the results will be, like, more long term.
Okay, yeah. Cool. And, you know, how about the topic experiencing, how about we talk about this? This is on our list. We want to talk about being happy, which is key. I mean, because it's healthy. You know, get a strong immune system, you're more productive. You know, a lot of things are better happy. However, making someone else happy, giving happiness to people, providing happiness for large groups of people that may not be happy for maybe some real reasons, like they don't have food, they don't have shelter, they don't have land to farm, or they have no hope of having these things. This takes us to an area that we can all feel really good from just by merely going to the store. And this is our pitch for profit capitalism, profit donation capitalism. And that's what we should talk about for a couple of minutes. Take a few moments out from the show and talk about how great a company like Newman's Own, where they make, what did you say, like 40? Earlier you were telling me the 40 different products?
Over 40 products.
I mean, I think of salad dressing, tomato sauce, and popcorn. And I'm thinking there are 37.
They've got cookies, they've got ice cream, they've got salsa.
So you can go to the supermarket, which is great, or you can go to Eckert Drugs and buy something you might need, like toothpaste or something that's a fairly necessity. Although I've known people who brush their teeth with a weed while they were camping out, or use salt or something, as long as it cleans the little velvet off. Then,
and you got to buy salt, though, right?
Got to buy salt. That's true. You can go and go to a salt mine and probably but you have to get there. So just getting our necessities would be so just so pleasing and so, I don't know, just satisfying to know that I'm not handing that money over so that some guy working for a big company like Enron can get so distorted from all the money that this company makes that they have to have more than the greed, and then they just have to steal from people who've been paying into their 401ks forever. I know I'm getting political, but that's like a big problem. I think people become so like I have to have it all. Now I can have this. Let me triple that. I get 10 times that. It's like madness, and no one's realizing that. Well, what about, I would get the huge kick out of knowing I just fed Nigeria with that 10 million, I didn't have to put it and steal it and do something meaningless with it.
Yeah, actually, since we get a different audience each time of our shows, I just want to briefly explain to some people.
Please briefly explain.
A bit more so what profit donation capitalism is about. It's the idea that, like, generally now when we buy products, we are buying them from generally big corporations, and this money just generally goes to make people who are pretty much relatively already rich, in many cases too rich, richer. Whereas we can create many companies that work exactly like Paul Newman's company, Newman's Own, that donate 100% of their profit to good causes. And we talk about this on the show here because there's about 1 billion people on the planet that are like in extreme poverty, and it's very difficult to be happy when one doesn't have their basic requirements like food and all, and medicine. So we talk about it for that, but it's also in terms of like the environment. Like, for example, you have these oil companies, and their policies, what they do is they influence legislation, they influence our government, they influence countries to not pursue policies that are in our best interest, so that the environment gets more and more polluted. You have global warming, and because these companies are so powerful, it's at the expense of everyone. Whereas with profit donation capitalism, we could buy, let's say, a toothpaste where the profit will go to lobby against the oil companies, to lobby for environmental reform and all.
So, why doesn't that happen?
The reason it hasn't happened yet is because ideas have their time. Ideas, there had to be a Paul Newman's, a Newman's Own, who, since they began, they've generated over $175 million for thousands of charities. So that had to happen. It had to demonstrate to people the fact that a company can not only exist but thrive and give a lot of money to all of its profit to charity and good causes, and still be in business. Many people would think, well, that's impossible. Paul Newman and many other companies are now showing that it is possible. So it probably hasn't existed until now because there hasn't been the model. But
how long has that company been, Newman's Own?
Newman started in 1982.
That's a long time, babe.
Yeah, and I mean UNICEF is...
That's 24 years. How long does it take until it just becomes a requirement of humans on the planet? We have to do this. Every country under who's not corrupt now? Gee, I can't even pick an agency who can actually mandate that you have to have 25% of your GDP go out to the rest of the planet. Go out to less fortunate countries, or countries that have been hit with tsunamis, or countries that are in drought, or countries that are struggling with disease. Then we have to help. I mean, this is mankind. It's a little earth. We have to take care of it and everybody on it.
Absolutely. And the reason, I mean, you talk about like giving about 25% of our GDP, and for those people who don't know, the GDP is really like the worth of how much we make in products and services on a yearly basis. It's like the income of each country, and like not only do we not give 25% of our GDP now.
I think that's too high. I mean, I'm not a really business head person,
no. Here's the idea. We right now give 0.1% of our GDP, right?
1/10.
To development assistance, to helping poor people. If we gave as little as 1%, there would be no more poverty. I mean, if we in the other industrialized countries like England, Germany, France and all gave just 1% of what we earn each year as a country, poverty would be over. And so that's the beauty of this profit donation.
But there is 1% of that going somewhere. Where is it going?
Well, like for example, 4% of our GDP, I think, goes to the military, and we have our military. We spend more on the military than every other country in the world put together.
Well, they have their own channel now. You ever watch the military channel?
No.
You should see the stuff they're developing. Unbelievable.
Oh, I know.
Oh my God! But getting back to 4% of the military, and then what? Go ahead.
The rest of it, it's just we don't spend it. We that's a good question.
Somebody's spending it, babe. I'm telling you right now.
We spend it on on products. We spend it on ourselves, and and the thing is, like, generally most people don't realize that happiness isn't about having more, having
bigger and better.
Exactly, it's not about that. So, and that's the other thing.
It's about being bigger and better, being more. It's not having, it's being.
Absolutely.
And that's like, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, and actually this episode is important, just about happiness being all there is.
That's right.
Because when we realize that, happiness is all there is, that above the poverty line, it doesn't really depend on money, we can learn the skills, we can smile more, we can become much happier. As we become happier, we look around, we see our bank account, we see our country, and we say, wait a minute, we've got so much more than we need. We've got people, on the other side of the world, 1 billion, who aren't even eating. That greater happiness can create the conditions where we're much more generous.
Yeah. I don't know, it just seems like it should be going on already. I lose ground when I think about 82, these companies started. That's 24 years ago. And so nobody picked the ball up and run with it. We've just gotten wealthier, and then the onset of the .com. I mean, where'd all that money? What are they doing?
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Yeah. In terms, with the profit donation capitalism thing, I think one of the problems is Paul Newman is a celebrity. When he marketed his product, he got a lot of publicity,
yes,
right?
He's high profile.
And it was free publicity. He didn't spend any on advertising or marketing. He spent like $40,000 just to market his first product. But for an ordinary individual to do the same thing would be much more difficult. They wouldn't get the publicity. So, I mean, we created this website, Profit Donation Capitalism, where we're promoting this idea that you get 40 celebrities together, major celebrities, Oprah, Billy Joel.
And look at how many celebrities Oprah can get together. She had Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley on. What a great show that was. And here they are talking about really fun issues about, being in the limelight and having a lot of attention when they go everywhere, and people just kind of stand there and look at Michael Jordan like, wow, isn't he the coolest thing on earth? And he is, and he's always so wonderfully put together. Now he's having a new clothing line. And I'm waiting for somebody to say on the show, where's all that profit going to go? Because what do you make, like $500 million on the sneakers alone? Why doesn't somebody suggest to somebody who's that type of an incredible individual, who's such a role model for anybody, to say, why doesn't somebody say, you need to do this?
Well, Claudia, we are those somebodies, and that's exactly what we're doing.
Dear Mikey.
Because Michael Jordan and Oprah and so many celebrities, Streisand, all these people, they can each come out, it would be a campaign.
Bono, he's like Mr. Politician. Bono, he should run for president.
Bob Geldof, absolutely. It would be a campaign. They would each, let's say, get 40 celebrities. Each of them working together will come out with a separate food product to be sold in supermarkets, right? Now, you have a major publicity campaign, a press conference, an international press conference where the 40 celebrities and their new products are introduced to the world, and the world realizes that each time they buy one of these celebrities' products, all of the profit is going to be going to end poverty. That event alone would make certain that, here's the figures. Paul Newman on his first product created he made about $1 million the first year, right? Now, if you have these 40 individuals in a year each coming out with a product and selling, I would imagine with the extended worldwide publicity, each of those products would make about 25 million, I would guess, and that's probably a conservative estimate. So 25 million times 40 celebrities, that's about $1 billion in 1 year. I mean, it would be astronomical.
That's beautiful.
So,
what a great idea. So let's do that.
But that's the key, Claudia.
Hurry up.
I'm sorry. Yeah, the key is just to have a launch.
No, I meant hurry up. Let's do this.
Absolutely.
Don't hurry up what you're saying. It's perfect what you're saying. You know, because I tell you, I can't watch it. Let's say the TV comes on like, oh, you know, boom, you turn it on. I want to watch the news. I want to watch the Science Channel, which I'm addicted to. And they have like E comes on, Entertainment Tonight, Channel 2 or something. I'm like, 30 seconds of that, and I'm like, oh my God. Do these people have nothing else to do? I think it would really be good for celebrities to stop focusing on how much money and mink they have in their closet, and start thinking more about, well, if I become a celebrity, there's going to be some pressure on me to help the world, to do the right thing, because I'm in the public eye and I have a lot of clout and I know a lot of people and I can make things happen because I'm whatever I am, whoever I am. I think that's a pressure that should come with celebrity life.
And it's even like, you know, you can address it from like that kind of a pressure, and also...
And I think they would enjoy, instead of just having to run from paparazzi, I would smile and say, yes, I did feed a small country in the Far East. Thank you. Take my picture. Mm-hmm.
It would be absolutely...
It would be good.
Absolutely.
Very good. You know, so I don't know, that's happiness, right? To me, that makes me happy, talking about something that needs to change and that could really change, that we can actually do this. We just have to figure out how to get everybody online.
And again, the only thing we have to do is we have to figure out how to get those 40 celebrities together to launch the whole thing, because once they come out with products, everybody understands, hey, we can buy products and feed the hungry and clean the environment. Then those 40 initial celebrities would be followed by, I imagine, hundreds and hundreds of others.
Oh God, millions, are you kidding? So since we have 28 seconds left, we have to say goodbye.
No, because we got another minute also, because we started like at 26.
Right, okay, so we have another minute, and we're just going to say that as you're listening to the show tonight, think about what you can contribute to these ideas, and this is really important for us, and we need your support and your interest. So write to us at thehappinessshow.com. Correct?
Absolutely.
Go visit us, say hi, and let us know your ideas and thoughts. And do you want to say anything else before we sign off?
Yeah, I guess we want to return to the idea that the clock isn't going anymore, so we'll just go. We'll try to like figure out what a minute is. So, all right. The idea is that happiness is all there is. Okay. It's the idea that, you know, as we focus on that, we will just like get our minds tuned in at each moment every day to what life is about. And that would create such a better world. Much, much better. And then it gets you out of your own head, stops you from worrying about yourself, and then you can start thinking about others, and then everybody's into, you know, helping people with this PDC idea, profit donation capitalism. Okay, beautiful. Thanks for joining us tonight, and we'll see you next week, Thursday. Remember that happiness is, it's great. So feel well, be happy, and we'll see you soon.
Happiness is powerful, it's our underlying need. Happiness is why we live each day. Happiness is destiny, so let's be so very happy. Yeah, let's be so very happy. Yeah, let's be so very happy.